Alright guys, as you may know from my email yesterday, we're here to start planning and talking about our audit of inventory for our client in Fuego Bar and Lounge. I think we should start with maybe mostly our concerns and what's the scariest part about this account. Reggie.
Listen boss, I had this terrible nightmare last night about Fuego's inventory. It looks like they had overstated their inventory in a material way.
Oh no!
Oh my god, Reggie, that is scary. The scariest thing for this client is overstatement. We're very concerned about overstatement. If they claim that they have inventory that they don't actually have, they might look better to investors and banks.
So what are we going to do to address that fear? How can we make sure they're not claiming inventory they don't have?
I'm glad you asked. We need to be especially professionally skeptical about the management's assertions of the valuations and existence of their inventory. It's time to really talk about how we're going to verify the existence of this inventory.
Well, I think at a minimum, we need to check the mathematical accuracy of the inventory records and the financial statements.
I like where your head's at, Terrio. What do you think, Reggie?
I think an inventory count will be needed. We can look at the inventory they claim to have, then confirm a sample by physically counting the inventory on hand.
Perfect. That'll actually let us know if the inventory they claim they actually have. What are some potential problems that we might get at when counting inventory?
Well, I know that their primary inventory is beer, which is turned over really quickly. So I think that it's pretty likely that while we're counting, inventory is going to be going in and out through their normal operations of business. We'll need to be careful not to count items twice or miss certain items.
We also need to make sure that Fuego actually owns the beer that they're selling. I remember in previous years they had some sort of consignment agreement with their distributors where they didn't actually own beer.
Lastly, I think we should perform some analytical procedures just so that we can get an idea of what we think the inventory that they have should look like.
I think you're right. I think maybe we could do something along the lines of looking at their cost of goods sold for the year and maybe divide it by the number of weeks. And then that might give us a sort of a hint at how much inventory they'd be holding at one point in the year.
That's some really strong thinking, boys. Some other things that we might need to consider is expired beer and how we're going to make sure we don't double count items. The expiration date of the beer will be very important in determining if the inventory should be included in the count. Just because they have the beer doesn't mean that they can actually sell it.
You're right. Terrio and I will work on these issues. We won't let you down, boss.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. I think it's time for you guys to go out and start getting on that inventory.
All right.
So are you ready for your first audit, Terrio?
Yeah, Reggie. This is it. Harrisonburg's hottest nightclub in Fuego. And we get to audit them. All right.
Trevor!
Well, sorry guys. Fuego's isn't open till later, but hey, it's ladies' night tonight. I better see you fellas tonight.
Oh, I could never go to ladies' night. That would constitute impermissible gifts from the client.
Oh, up top! Oh, right, you guys are the auditors. We love having you all around. What can I do for you?
We just need to speak with Victor for a moment if he's around.
Victor, yeah, certainly. He's right in the back. Go on back there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey Victor, it's me, Reggie, your auditor.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good to see you guys again.
Good to see you too.
What can I do for you?
We're just here to take an inventory count and we need a detailed listing from you. When do you think you could get that to us by?
Oh, actually, it's your lucky day. I actually have it right here. Give me a sec.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thanks for your help, Victor.
No problem.
Okay, Terrio, how about I do all the recalculations and footing, and while I'm doing that, you can go over the inventory listing to look for large or unusual entries.
Sounds good to me, boss.
Alright, Terrio, everything looks fine to me. Did you see anything?
Yeah, actually I did. According to the listing, they have a really large amount of Dom Perignon in their inventory. Much more than last year. I think it's a little strange because most of their inventory is usually beer and liquor. We might want to look into that. It's slightly inflating their overall inventory.
Great catch, Terrio. We'll have to go talk to Victor about that. Hey, Victor, do you have a minute?
Yeah, sure. What do you guys need?
We were scanning over the inventory listing and found one kind of odd thing. Terrio can fill you in.
Yeah, so I noticed that you have $40,000 of Dom Perignon on your inventory listing. That seems a bit excessive since last year you only had $1,000 at the end of the year, and most of your other inventory is valued at a lot lower. Do you think you could explain that for us?
Yeah, of course, guys. I can explain that. I got married this past year. 4 times a charm, am I right? No, but seriously, my wife's birthday's in 2 weeks, and she's having a party here, and she is a huge champagne drinker. So we loaded up on some Dom Perignon to make sure we had it here for the party. Only the best for my wife.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you have anything to corroborate that? We just need to cover all of our bases.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually got the purchase order and the receiving report right here. Right here for you.
Thank you. This looks good. If we get a couple copies of this to go on our records, that'd be great.
Sure, I'll get right on that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Terrio, I'm happy with that. What do you say we go do the physical inventory observation?
Oh, sweet!
Okay, Terrio, we're going to be taking a sample of items on this inventory listing and taking a test count of the inventory on hand.
But why do we need to count the inventory? The client already counted the inventory to come up with this listing. So they've basically already done the counting for us. That seems like a waste of time to do it again.
Well, let me explain to you why this is important. When the client counts their inventory, that's a control. As the auditor, we need to test that control to ensure that it is working properly. So by performing our own test count to support their test count, we're testing their control so we can be reasonably assured of the information in their statements. Remember that we said during our planning meeting, our biggest fear related to inventory is the client's overstatement. Therefore, we need to focus on the existence of inventory.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So what's first?
So let's take a sample of this inventory listing and count it. The client claims to have a lot of Keystone Light. I don't drink, but it must be really tasty and flavorful beer since it's so popular.
I think you're right.
So next we're going to count all of the Keystone Lights in their inventory and write it down on this inventory count sheet. We need to make sure that we don't double count the inventory. This would mess up our counts. How can we do that?
I'm just spitballing here, but what if we took a really big sip out of each beer that we counted, so that then if we came across a beer that had a big sip gone, we knew we've already counted it?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Not only would we be devaluing their inventory, but we would probably be too drunk to even finish the count. I was thinking more along the lines of using these sticky notes to mark the inventory we already counted.
Yeah, that probably makes more sense. Hey Trevor, I need to count your Keystone Lights that you guys have in inventory right now for the audit.
Not a problem, Terrio. They're right over there.
Alright, I get to count them. Okay. 1 Keystone, 1 Keystone, 2 Keystone, 2 Keystone. This is easy. Alright, 3 Stony Balonies, 3 Stony Balonies. Alright, Reggie, finish up counting the Keystones.
Fantastic. I'll compare these to the client's count and investigate any differences. What's wrong, Terrio?
Trevor just brought in a new case of Keystones, and I just finished counting. It's gonna mess everything up. What are we gonna do?
Okay, don't freak out. I know how to handle this. We just need to separate the old from the new inventory.
Okay.
Hey, Trevor. For the purpose of our audit and inventory count, we need to make sure that incoming and outgoing inventory are separated. Can you put that case away from the other beers so we don't confuse the two?
Yeah, no problem, bro.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
That was a close one, Reg.
Good catch, kid.
Well, anyway, here's my listing. What's next?
Thanks, Terrio. Let's see. They have a relatively large amount of Bud Light JMU editions on the listing, but I'm pretty sure they haven't run that promotion in a while. And it's also unethical to promote alcohol to underage kids. Maybe we should see if that inventory should be valued at what it's on the listing at. Or maybe it's obsolete.
I can do that. Found it! They're right here. Let's look at it. Okay, JMU Edition Bud Light, JMU Edition Bud Light, JMU Edition Bud Light, right? What's the expiration date on this thing? July 23rd, 2009? Ew! You were right, Reggie. These JMU Edition Bud Light cans are way past their expiration date. I would say that the inventory is obsolete and might need to be written down.
Good work, Terrio. We'll talk to Victor about writing down the inventory. This means the last thing we have to check for is inventory held on consignment.
Okay, should we ask Victor about that?
No, I think you should talk to Trevor about it. Victor would be the one most likely to misstate the inventory because he's the one who deals with all the records. We need to talk to someone who's less concerned with the workings of the business in order to get an independent view of the inventory.
Good thinking, Reg.
Hey Trevor, can we ask you a few questions about the inventory you hold?
Sure can, Reg. What do you need?
Is there any inventory that you have that you sell but don't actually own, sort of like a consignment agreement?
Absolutely. Our distributor gives us this one specialty beer, and if we sell it, we get to keep some of the revenue and pass the rest on to the distributor. But if we don't sell it, then we just give all the beer back to the distributor.
Do you know if you keep it on the inventory listing?
Be honest, Reg, I don't deal with any of that accounting nonsense, but the beer's name is Vienna Lager.
What's up, Reg? You seem a little concerned about what Trevor told us about that specialty beer.
Well, Trevor said that the Vienna Lager isn't on their inventory listing. But look at it. According to their records, they recorded the Vienna Lager in inventory. This seems like a misstatement to me. We need to talk to Victor.
I think you're right.
You put the boom boom into my heart. You send my soul sky high when your loving starts. Jitterbug.